What's up, everybody? Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Carolina Panthers Talk, brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram, coming at you here on the U to the Tube. So, I wanted to get on here and holler at y'all for a while. Tonight's topic, going to talk Carolina Panthers, and we're going to talk quarterbacks. We just gonna lay it all out on the table. I've been hearing a lot of discussions, a lot of feedback, just not only from fellow subscribers, but also on other podcasts as well. So tonight, I want to pose the ultimate question: should the Carolina Panthers go all in with this upcoming draft at the end of the month and draft a quarterback? Or should they wait until next year's draft, 2023, and draft their quarterback? So either this upcoming draft or next year's draft. When do you think the Panthers should draft their quarterback? Now, there's a lot that I've been hearing. I'm hearing that this upcoming draft class for quarterbacks just isn't strong. Next year's will be better. We need a quarterback now. Just everybody's done with Sam Darnold. We got some that are willing to deal with Sam Darnold, but do we feel that either of the quarterbacks in this draft are ready? I would love to hear what y'all have to say. Joe Velasco chimes in quick. He says this year. Okay. Joe Velasco, elaborate. Why this year? Why this draft? Compared to next year's. Why do you pick this year? Because me personally, like, I'm kind of staying neutral. Me personally, I'm staying neutral because I feel like whether it's this year or next year, like, you have to factor in a few things. Like, one, like, for those that say next year, are we under the assumption that we're going to lose enough games that we'll be in position for a top draft pick for a quarterback? I mean, that's also something we have to think about. Like, I mean, could we actually end up drafting a quarterback this draft and actually win more than 5 games or actually get into the playoffs? I mean, that's something to think about. Because for us, I feel like for us to consider drafting a quarterback next year, we'd have to probably be in a position for a high draft pick in order to secure one. Because, I mean, I'm the two names that I'm hearing for next year are Bryce Young and Carson Strong. That's what I've been hearing. Those are the two big names that I've been hearing. But I know there's a lot to choose from in this upcoming draft. I mean, Desmond Ridder, Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, Sam Howell, Matt Corral. I mean, there's a number. But at the same time, a lot of people are saying that this class is weak. So if you feel really strongly that this class is weak, then I think it's safe to say that, I'm assuming that folks are okay with dealing with another year of Sam Darnold and just hope for the best that he can some way, somehow feed off of a better O-line, a new signal caller, new offensive coordinator, and some way, somehow, by some shade of a miracle, flourish in this upcoming season. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to remain optimistic as much as I can, but It's not going to be easy. It's definitely not going to be easy. And, we were told that there would be competition at this quarterback spot. So it's got to come in the form of drafting a quarterback or getting another veteran in free agency. I feel like one of those two has to happen this year if there's going to be some form of competition with the quarterbacks. I would think. But I could be wrong. But I feel like regardless of if it's this draft or next year's draft, it's going to be a risk. It's going to be a risk because, with a lot of the talk that I've been hearing about Kenny Pickett, so many folks are betting on if we get Kenny Pickett, he can help bring this team success and potentially help get us into the playoffs. And I just don't know if there's enough evidence to really show that. And I'm not just saying that for him. I'm saying that with, the other quarterbacks as well. I understand they get drafted, they become pros, but they still start off as rookies. We have to remember that. Now, Joe Velasco says, I got two quarterbacks on my mind, Malik Willis or Desmond Ridder. Oh, those are your two? So my question for you is, do you feel confident that with us getting a quarterback in this draft that we're going to do well enough to where it's a big improvement with this season, with this upcoming season? Is that how you feel, Joe Velasco? Because I'm under the impression that even though Sam Darnold may be the starter, if there's good competition coming from the quarterback position from like a drafted quarterback, then someone could upstage him and take his spot, especially if he messes up badly. Joe Velasco says, if we draft a quarterback, we have to sign Cam Newton. Here's the thing. I'm not convinced that Cam Newton wants to return to Carolina, because you have to also remember he's going to want a multi-year deal, and he's going to want to have fair playing time, and he wants to be in a position to win. And Carolina has not proven that they're in the position to win based off the last handful of seasons. So as much as I would love Cam Newton to return, I don't think he wants to. I don't think he sees Carolina as a team ready to win, or as a team that's in position to win. That's the only thing I can think of as to why Cam Newton may not even consider returning to Carolina. Not to mention, if what he says is true, with other teams reaching out to him, somebody can definitely use him. I know Carolina could definitely use him. I just don't think they want to use him. I know they said that the door is left open for him, but I still feel iffy as to whether I can fully believe that or not. And that's just me personally. I don't know if I 100% believe that, but I think it's at least plain and clear that Cam Newton has made that. I don't know. I just really feel like he doesn't want to come back to Carolina. He's already tested that out. That didn't go well, especially playing under Matt Rule, and I think that's a big issue with it, is the whole idea that he would be playing under Matt Rule. I mean, we already saw what happened in his return, so yeah, I think it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be really hard. How do I feel about Colin Kaepernick? I mean, at this point, it's a hit or miss. I understand that Colin Kaepernick has been working out. He's been getting his reps in and getting ready and such. But at the same time, we still wonder if he'll really be able to be successful again, because we have to remember, Colin Kaepernick has not played in 6 years. He hasn't played in 6 years. So that's a long time away from the game. 6 years is a long time. So it's a big risk. It's definitely a big risk. But at this point, I don't think it's necessarily a bad risk. I don't think it's a bad risk. Like, if Colin Kaepernick came to Carolina, sure, I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't argue. But it is a risk because he hasn't played in 6 years. I mean, doing practice reps and stuff like that is one thing, conditioning and all that, but he hasn't played a legit game in 6 years. So I just feel like there's probably going to be some rust. And then you have to also factor in, you got to get him into the system. You got to get him back in and working into a system. That can take time, especially with how far off he's been away from the game. Him getting readjusted to a play system is going to take some time. So I expect there to be rust. But, is it a move that we can afford to do? Tito Z, what's up? What's up, champ? Cap is not coming back. The league in time has let the signing pass for any team. That could potentially be true. That could definitely be the case. But, as I said, even if he was able to come back, he hadn't played in 6 years. So, do I feel like he deserves a chance? Sure, but when you haven't played in that long, it's gonna be rough. It's definitely gonna be rough. So, just something to think about. Ikaim Hannon. Hey, good to see you again. I've seen some clips of RG3 at Draft Combine. What about giving him a chance? RG3, no. Nah. Nah. To be honest with you, he hasn't really had a great NFL career. I mean, I'd have to say no, personally. I'd have to say no. I don't think RG3 is the guy. I really don't. I don't think he's one that could really bounce back. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think he could bounce back and really revitalize his career. I mean, at least with Colin Kaepernick, being that he's made it to the playoffs and being that he has played in a Super Bowl, which, I mean, I do understand that RG3 has played in one playoff game. Didn't do too bad in that playoff game. Of course, this was with Washington, but I just really, RG3 hasn't really had a lot of luck since 2014. So, yeah, I mean, he started off his first 2 years, he started off pretty dang on good, especially in 2012. He had a great start in 2012, but then just RG3 just kept going down and down and down. and hasn't really been able to bounce back. So I'd have to say no to RG3. What do y'all think? Anybody else want to chime in on that? But I personally, I have to say no to RG3. I wouldn't personally. And he's also another that has had health issues in the past as well. He's been banged up quite a bit. Joe Valesco says, like a backup, yes. I wouldn't even consider him for a backup, to be honest with you. I mean, I wouldn't even consider him for backup, to be honest with you. Shoot, I'd rather go all in on Cam Newton before I'd go in on RG3 as a backup, to be honest with you. I mean, shoot, we're probably better off just settling with PJ Walker instead of RG3. I mean, I know that sounds bad, but I just really RG3, he really hasn't. I just really feel like he hasn't been able to bounce back. Tito Z says the only pluses for Cap is age, no hits, and arm strength, and maybe football intelligence. I mean, yeah. I do feel like he has something left. I do feel like Colin Kaepernick has, something left. Despite being 34 years old, I think he still has quite a bit left in the tank. And, for the most part, Colin Kaepernick, is healthy, is definitely healthy. So, and like I said, he's been working out. I would definitely take a chance on Colin Kaepernick before I take a chance on RG3. That's for sure. Bob Eugene, welcome. Jimmy G would have a greater impact on the wins over the next few years than Willis or Pickett. Here's the thing. We need a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo. That's really what it comes down to, is can he be healthy? Because Jimmy Garoppolo is another one that's taken a beating. We need a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo. His win percentage is good when he plays. I will give him that. But he hasn't been able to stay consistently healthy. So that's the only thing with that. Mamba, welcome. Welcome to the stream. If we go offensive lineman, then we need to get Tyler Huntley. Tyler Huntley. I've heard that name bounced around quite a bit. You mean even more than Charles Cross or any of the others? But yeah, those that haven't chimed in on the question yet, what do y'all think? Draft a quarterback this year, or wait and draft a quarterback next year? What do y'all think about that? Because I have mixed feelings about both, and I'm kind of staying neutral. But there's been a lot of talks about the different draft classes for quarterback for this year and for next year. And then we have to also factor in how desperate is Carolina for a quarterback. Tito Z says, get the O-line right now. Get a quarterback next year. So Tito Z says next year. Joe Valesco says this year. Bob Eugene says wait. So wait as in you would wait till next year to get a quarterback. Mamba says, I see a lot of Derek Carr and Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis could be Mike Vick with the better arm talent. Malik could also be a Russell Wilson. That's his ceiling at least. Ooh, that's a good breakdown. That's a good analysis. Very, very insightful there, Mamba. Very insightful. Because personally, I don't really have a favorite out of the quarterbacks of this draft class because they each have their strengths and weaknesses. So I can't say that I have a favorite. But I'm under the impression that if we draft a quarterback next year, that I would think we would have to be in some sort of position to get a high draft pick to get a Carson Strong or a Bryce Young. You know what I mean? So, I mean, are we assured that we'll eat that many losses or, lose that many games to be in that position without tanking, of course, because tanking is for cowards? Khalil Wesley says, Mamba, I beg to differ. Tito Z says, without a good or great O-line, the quarterback is going to be in trouble. That's a good point. It's a very good point. Mamba says, I think you take a shot at quarterback now. You can't just keep waiting around. So Mamba says now. So Mamba and Joe Valesco say now. Tito Z says next year, and it sounds like Bob Eugene says next year as well. Khalil Wesley, I assume you're down to draft a quarterback now instead of waiting until next year. I take it that's your thoughts on that. And then, if we're talking about quarterbacks out of this draft, I mean, which one is really going to have the best shot at possibly taking Sam Darnold's job? Because that's another thing we have to factor in. It's another thing we got to factor in. Khalil Wesley says Willis played FBS games and lost. They media hyping him like Jackson, Michael Vick, Donovan McNabb, and Cam Newton. Bob Eugene says, if Matt Rule is head coach, we will have a high pick next year. It's possible. It's possible. It's definitely possible. I mean, but here's the thing. Mamba says, I don't think we will be that bad to be in that position next year. I really want to give Brady a chance. I take it you're talking about Brady Christensen, Mamba. But yeah, I think even with our additions, I think it's still too soon. And don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people don't like Matt Rule. I don't like Matt Rule. But to be fair, if we end up going to the playoffs this season, some way, somehow, he deserves to keep his job. Plain and simple as that. He deserves to keep his job. Dekaim Hannon says, I might sound crazy, but draft O-line and trust Sam. I think we have something special, just yet to see it. So you're pretty much down with no drafting quarterback this upcoming draft, and just trust Sam. Okay, I got you. So that's another one. Cheeto Z says, do we still want a running quarterback and willing to take major injuries without being protected? That's a good point. That's a really good point. Because that's something that we've dealt with quite a bit, especially with Cam Newton. Khalil Wesley says, my vote is Kenny Pickett has most passing yards and passing rates. Matt Rule recruited him. He can win more with Pickett. Here's the thing. what all are you basing it off of? And the reason why I'm asking is because as much as Kenny Pickett might be a favorite, Malik Willis and all those other quarterbacks are pretty much in the same position with this draft. You know what I mean? So, and then you have to also remember what happens in college doesn't always translate into the pros. It doesn't. It doesn't always translate into the pros. I mean, thankfully, Cam Newton did a little something, something. We had a Heisman Trophy winner in Chris Winkie, and you saw what happened with that. So, I mean, it's great to be hyped, but we have to also remember that college and the pros don't always translate easily. That's why personally I'm not picking a favorite at quarterback. I'm not. Because I just don't feel like I see enough to favor one over the other. That's me personally. Khalil Wesley says Willis is just a project quarterback, not a long term. Once again, I ask, what are you basing it off of? Like, I'm curious. I'm just curious. Like, what are you basing it off of? Because I know a lot of the things with Kenny Pickett was him breaking Dan Marino's record, him having the one, big year. But at the same time, the one big year and it's college. That doesn't always translate into the pros. So something to think about. Tito Z says, didn't Matt train Sam in college, and how did they work out after game 4? I mean, game 4, while Sam did score, I think, 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns, he did throw his share of picks as well. So, yeah. That's really where the downfall started. So I feel you on that, Tito Z. Mamba says, I'm fine with any quarterback after looking at tape. This is a quarterback draft class is pretty underrated because guys are coming from small schools like Grayson McCall, Sam Hartman, and Bailey Zapp. Bailey Zapp is another name that I've been hearing kind of sneak into the conversation lately, Mamba. So I've been kind of keeping an eye out for him. Let's see. Khalil Wesley says Willis played against FBS games. He didn't shine at all. No. That does not matter. That does not matter. No. I think that's unfair. Judging based on what schools you attended and played at, nah. If you shined at your school and you played well, there's a reason that you're being considered to be drafted into the NFL. No. Mm-mm. I think that's irrelevant. I'm gonna have to disagree. I think that's irrelevant. Just because you play at certain colleges or whatnot doesn't mean that you should just automatically assume that the chances are lower of you getting into the NFL, or if you play great, that just discredits that. No, that's not fair. I don't think that's fair. He shouldn't be discredited because of playing against certain teams as compared to other big name teams. No, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair at all. It's especially college. Like I said, college versus the pros. That's not fair. Mamba says, but the people that I just named are if we trade back and need to take a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, duly noted, Mamba. Khalil Wesley said he played against Corral and lost. He got sacked and threw interceptions. Okay. And the other quarterbacks didn't? I mean, all I'm saying is looking at his stats, especially last year, let's see, finished with an 8-5 record, 27 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. I think that's a pretty dang on good ratio. Not only that, his overall college career, 35 games, a record of 17-6, 5,176 yards, or yeah, 48 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. That's a really dang on good ratio. And not to mention his rushing touchdowns. And of course, he played at both Liberty and Auburn. Like I said, I can't factor in just one game. I got to look at the whole picture. I got to look at the whole picture. And the fact of the matter is, he's being considered being drafted into the first round for a reason, just like everybody else, those other quarterbacks. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're rooting for Kenny Pickett, I totally get it. Totally get it. That's who you want. I totally get it. But we have to also be fair across the board because Pickett has his weaknesses just like everybody else. Just like everybody else. In Malik Willis's defense, he had some pretty bad wide receiver play and a dreadful offensive line. Well, that's a factor. That is definitely a factor. I mean, it's the same sort of argument that we can make for Sam Darnold as well. Despite his bad decision making, he hasn't played behind a good O-line. It's just Malik's mobility in the pocket kind of masks his bad offensive line. That was another thing that was talked about, his decision making and mobility in the pocket. So that's duly noted. Khalil Wesley says we should trade back the 6th pick to the 17th pick. Let's see. Currently, the Chargers have the 17th pick. I'm gonna tell you right now, if we trade back to the 17th pick and getting rid of the 6, there's no way we get a Malik Willis or a Kenny Pickett. We would be lucky to get either one of those quarterbacks. If you really want a quarterback in the first round, if we trade back that far, I definitely doubt we'll get a Malik Willis or a Kenny Pickett unless we're just really, really lucky and the Saints don't take a quarterback in that first round. Otherwise, because you got to remember that trade that took place. Yeah, Mamba has a good point. If we trade back, I say don't trade back any further than the 10th, maybe even the 12th. Yeah, that's a little more reasonable. That's a little more reasonable. But the 17th, that's risky. That's risky. Now, I assume that this is only for the sake of if we're definitely going quarterback. If not, then we should really consider trading back and try to get a second and a third round pick or one of those two. But other than that, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. But we have to also factor in whoever we draft. If we do draft at quarterback with this draft, is going to be playing behind Sam Darnold. So, I mean, not necessarily a big name, but that's what the scenario would be. Khalil Wesley says, I see Willis a backup quarterback, not franchise. His career will fall. Um, well, he'll definitely come in as a backup quarterback, at least starting out. He'll at least start out as a backup quarterback. That's for sure. But I don't know. I do think he has the potential to beat out Sam Darnold. It's definitely very possible, especially if Sam Darnold can't get the job done, because you best believe if Sam Darnold is going to this season and he's struggling like crazy, regardless of who we have at backup, whether it's, Ritter or Willis or Pickett, he gonna get replaced. I strongly can predict. If Sam Darnold struggles like crazy in the first 2, maybe 3 games, they gonna get their shot early. Whether it's Pickett or Willis or Ritter or whoever, they gonna get their shot. Kenny Pickett is NFL ready. He makes us a playoff contender. I mean, I hope. I really hope. I guess I guess I'm assuming you mean starter ready. I take it you mean NFL starter ready, because technically, if all these other quarterbacks get drafted, that means they're NFL ready as well. So, are we looking at NFL starter ready? Is that what you mean, Khalil Wesley? Because if you think about it, these other quarterbacks, they get drafted, they make it in, they're apparently NFL ready. So, just something to think about. But I assume you mean NFL starter ready. Because honestly, I hope whoever we draft will be successful. And part of me wants to see a new face other than Sam Darnold. But at the same time, if Sam Darnold can turn things around, great. I personally want to see a new face. But if he can turn it around, so be it. Mamba says, look at what Sean Ryan turned Deshaun Watson into. So I'm not worried. People were saying that Deshaun was drafted too high. Um, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. Despite what he's going through, 12th pick in the first round. Yeah, I don't know, Mamba. Maybe. I don't know. I can't fully agree with that, but I can't fully disagree with that. So yeah, yeah, yeah. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Khalil Wesley says Joe Brady was the worst offensive coordinator. Facts. At one point, I used to think Rod Chudzinski was pretty bad, but nah. Joe Brady definitely takes the cake. Ooh. And after all, he came into the league as a passing game coordinator. Was never really an offensive coordinator in college. So, yeah. So, yes, Khalil Wesley, I 1,000,000% agree with you. Definitely agree with you on that. And that's another thing I do expect. I do expect a turnaround in offensive production and play calling now that they have Ben McAdoo, somebody who is an experienced offensive coordinator, who's actually been one before for many years. So, highly agree with you on there. But So it looks like a handful of y'all. It looks pretty split between drafting a quarterback this upcoming draft versus drafting a quarterback next year. It looks like it's pretty split down the middle. I also need to look up these other quarterbacks. Ooh, dang. Looking at Carson Strong's numbers. Whoo-wee. This past year, 36 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Ooh. Dang, he's improved each year, actually. Dang, I can see why people like Carson Strong coming out of Nevada. Dang. I can see why people like him. Holy crap, his numbers are solid. Has pretty dang on good completion percentage, too. Dang, I can see what people are saying. Holy crap. Mamba says, I kind of feel bad for Joe Brady. He got thrown under the bus by Matt. Khalil Wesley says, Matt Rule has no NFL coaching experiences. I mean, he's been an assistant with the Giants. I think O-line, if I remember correctly. But aside from that, that's the only other experience he's had in the pros. Yeah, he was an assistant offensive line coach with the Giants. That's the only other piece of NFL experience at coaching that he has. But very lackluster. Mamba says Matt Corral and Carson Strong are the most interesting prospects to me. Yeah, I was just looking at Carson Strong's numbers. That dude's got solid numbers. And then a lot of people have been saying Bryce Young as well out of Alabama. Oh, a Bama quarterback. Ooh. Well, he'll be a junior this upcoming season. And of course, he won the Heisman Trophy. Ooh. Jeez. He's got really solid numbers. 4,872 yards, 47 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Dang. Wow. I can dig it. No wonder a lot of folks were saying Bryce Young as well. Goodness gracious. Whew. Khalil Wesley says the offensive coaches didn't help Darnold at all. Well, they didn't. The O-line didn't. But at the same time, there were times where Sam Darnold did have the time and made the bad decision, especially that Patriots game. That pick six, oh my goodness, that was a terrible, terrible throw. Overthrew a wide open Ian Thomas for the pick six. That right there was all Sam Darnold. The picks that he threw in the Eagles game, I think at least one, or actually I think at least 2 of them were on Sam Darnold. So I mean, he's made his share of bad decisions as well. Maybe the lack of help from the coaches and offensive line happened a lot more, but Sammy D has had his share of bad decision making as well, especially this past season. I just hope, positioning him better with the offensive line that can potentially consistently protect him, the weapons doing their part. Yeah, good point, Khalil Wesley. He just got to clean up the turnovers. Facts. Definitely. Because, I mean, the positives that I did see from Sam Darnold, I mean, I feel like he's got a decent arm. And I feel like he can be a red zone threat because he has gotten a good handful of rushing touchdowns. He showed that he can be a red zone threat because he can run it in. He can scramble. He's got some speed. He can scramble on you. It's not his strong suit, but that can factor in as a red zone threat. I will say that about Sam Darnold, as he has been able to get a couple of walk-in touchdowns in the red zone. But a lot of room to improve. Definitely a lot of room to improve. Man, I'm still stifled by those Bryce Young numbers. Goodness gracious. As I said with Kenny Pickett, looking at Kenny Pickett, a lot of folks says, his deep ball probably isn't the best, arm strength. I mean, I really didn't notice anything about that. If anything, my big issue is I'm just scared that he could get stripped easily. I mean, small hands, them defensive ends or tackles, they get a good, that ball's coming out. I'm just saying. I hope it doesn't come to that, but I'm sorry. This is the NFL. A big D lineman like the ones in the NFL that get a good swipe on Kenny Pickett, that ball's coming loose. I don't care what y'all say. That ball's coming loose. Mamba says one thing about Matt Corral is he comes from more of a one read system, which can translate terrible in the NFL. Ooh, that's not good. That's not good. One read system in the NFL. Ooh, no. That's not good. That's not good. If that's the case, Mamba, ooh. Hopefully that gets fixed. Hopefully that can be fixed and worked on. But yeah, that I agree with you. That would not translate well in the NFL. No way. But Kenny Pickett, 6'3", 220, decent size. Dude is decent size. But and I did like what I saw from Matt Corral's. I looked at a bunch of his highlights. I mean, I did see a lot of things there. Just one of the things to factor in is being able to bounce back from the health issues he's had. So hopefully he can come into the league and do some damage. I hope so. I really do. Mamba says, what do you think the Saints will do? I'm hearing rumors that they might use those picks to trade up ahead of us. I think that's very possible because something tells me they may give Jameis Winston some competition, because especially if they're moving Taysom Hill to tight end, I think they could definitely, being that they are at the 16th spot, 16th and 19th in the first round, I think they could definitely try to trade up. And I feel like with the Saints, they have options. I think they definitely have options. They could get a quarterback to compete with Jameis Winston. They could get their Malcolm Jenkins replacement. Don't forget, Malcolm Jenkins is retiring. They could get their Malcolm Jenkins replacement. That's another thing to think about. They could get another wide receiver. They could go after Drake London. They could get him, be another wide receiver. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Michael Thomas, but it's another thing to think about. Could get another edge rusher, another compliment to Cam Jordan. Like, I think if anything, Saints definitely have some options to consider. And I think I could see them either trading up to get a quarterback, or depending how the draft goes, they could get their Malcolm Jenkins replacement. That's what I think. But if anything, the teams I'm keeping an eye out on as far as the draft are the Lions, the Saints, the Falcons, Washington, and Seattle. Those are 5 teams I'm keeping an eye out on. Because like I said, Seattle, I think there's a good chance Seattle may get a quarterback. Because I do not see them settling with Drew Lock. I just don't see them settling with Drew Lock. And who else? They also got Geno Smith as well. No, I don't see the Seahawks settling. They would be crazy to settle. Hold on, let me double check. Yeah, Geno Smith and Drew Lock, they would be crazy to settle on Drew Lock and Geno Smith. Mamba says the Saints also might get Tyrann Mathieu, a safety duo with Marcus May, and Tyrann Mathieu is pretty scary. Geno Smith is he a free agent, Joe Velisco? Oh, see, I did not know that. I actually did not know that. I did not know that. Yeah, Honey Badger would be scary. Yeah, him and Marcus May. Yeah, definitely don't want to sleep on the Honey Badger. Hey, Jeffrey, good to see you. What's up, friend? I agree with Mamba on quarterbacks. A stud defensive end that can stop the run. That's what killed us last year. Yeah, we did struggle on defending the run. Agreed. Definitely agreed. But yeah, I definitely expect Seattle to be in the running for a quarterback. Because Drew Lock, I mean, I don't know. Do y'all honestly think Seattle's gonna bank on Drew Lock? I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, I know he kind of had a kind of year in 2020. But I don't see them settling on Drew Lock. I just don't. So I see Seattle being in the running for a quarterback. I think they may even trade up. They're at the number 9 spot, so they may play it by ear. But something tells me Seattle's going to get a quarterback. Right now, looking at the Tankathon, they got Seattle taking Sauce Gardner at number 9. They got Malik Willis going to the Falcons at number 8. Let me see. Where do they have Kenny Pickett? Oh, wow. They actually have the Saints getting Kenny Pickett at number 16. I'll be kind of surprised if Kenny Pickett falls to 16. That's kind of low for him. Matt Corral to the Steelers at number 20. Sam Howell to the Lions at number 32. I'll be kind of surprised if Pickett falls to 16. That seems kind of low. For as much as many have hyped him up to be, for him to fall to 16, that would be kind of weird. But at the same time, there's a lot of people high on Malik Willis. Let me see. Another thing I want to check. But I definitely, let me look at this mock draft 5.0, because I don't think I looked at this before. So this mock draft 5.0 on the Panthers website. So let's see what it's looking like. Cynthia Freeland is going Charles Cross. Mike Tannenbaum is going with Kenny Pickett. Will Brinson's going with Kenny Pickett. Joe Person's going with Malik Willis. Brentley Wiseman is going with Charles Cross. So, a couple of people going Charles Cross with that 6th pick. Some going Kenny Pickett. One person going Malik Willis. Right on, right on. Mamba says what people need to understand is you're not just drafting the player, you're drafting the person also. And I heard the front office is really high on Malik Willis as a future leader on the team. And not only that, but with his stock kind of going up to the point where, certain mock drafts have Malik Willis going first, being the first of the quarterbacks to get taken. I mean, it's something to think about. Now, looking at ESPN, what they have listed as the top needs for Carolina, and y'all let me know if y'all agree with this or not. What they have listed as the top needs in this order: quarterback, offensive tackle, offensive guard, cornerback. That's what they have listed as the needs for the top needs for the Panthers: quarterback, offensive tackle, offensive guard, cornerback. Let me see what y'all think about that. And then when you think about it, looking at the Saints, their top needs for the Saints are quarterback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, defensive back, defensive end. So that's a good point. That's a really good point. That's why I feel like New Orleans, they got some options. They got some options. I mean, look at the Falcons. They have their top needs listed: quarterback, defensive end, wide receiver, inside, what is that? Inside offensive lineman. I think that's what that says. IOL. I think that's inside offensive lineman. And cornerback. So they even got the Falcons up there for quarterback. Of course, Tampa Bay not so much, because remember, Tampa Bay also has they got Tom Brady, but they also have Kyle Trask. So yeah, there's that. Mamba says cornerback. It should be quarterback, offensive tackle, offensive guard, and tight end. I mean, yeah. But for some reason, they have cornerback on that list. What they have in the description, they say quarterback remains the biggest need in Carolina, and there will be real discussions about drafting one at number 6. There is also still a very real need at offensive tackle, a position the Panthers were expected to prioritize if they landed a veteran quarterback. With just one selection in the top 135 picks, the rest of the Panthers' needs must be filled with day 3 selections, which rarely give early returns. It's quickly looking as if the rebuild in Carolina will not be finished in 2022. Yeah, that I can definitely agree with. The rebuild will not be finished in 2022. That's definitely for sure. That's definitely for sure. If you ask me, I feel like cornerback would be a luxury at this point because, I mean, I'm not too concerned with the secondary. I mean, yeah, there could be some tweaks, but I'm not really concerned with the secondary. I would love to have Stephon Gilmore, but even if we don't, I don't think it will be that big of a negative impact on the secondary. But yeah, that's what they have listed for Carolina. Quarterback, offensive tackle, offensive guard, cornerback. Cornerback, I don't know. I definitely don't know. What did you take from Scott Fitterer's press conference? The last one he did. Uh, I mean, there's quite a number of things. I mean, one, part of me understands, like from what he was saying, part of me does understand their approach. I think they're really strongly weighing their options. I mean, I know some of us say, "Oh, they got to go hard in on this area and hard on that area," but I think at the same time, especially Scott Fitterer, the trade back king, is really zoning in to try to make this right. That I can definitely tell from him. Now, what scares me even more is David Tepper and his lack of addressing things. That personally scares me more. I mean, Scott Fitterer hit on some points, and I think Scott Fitterer is going about this whole number of things planned up to draft time. I think he's going about it in a pretty good way. The only thing I'm really, really iffy about is with this cap space. If anything, my concern is how they use the big amount of cap space that we have left. That's really my sort of iffy concern. But I like what Scott Fitterer is doing. I do. If anything, I trust him more than anybody else on that staff. More than Matt Rule, more than David Tepper. I trust Scott Fitterer. I do. Yes, is there room for improvement? Of course. But at least we can say Scott Fitterer has done it before. He did it with Seattle. They got to the big dance twice, won it once. So I think as a whole, we got to trust him. We got to trust him. Jeffrey, yeah, me too. Yeah, we got to trust him. But if anything, I'm ready to hear from dang on David Tepper. That's who I want to hear from. That's really who I want to hear from. Scott Fitterer sounds very confident in the free agency pickups. Overall, I think he did a good job with the free agency pickups. Like I said, to this day, my only real complaint is not bringing back Stephon Gilmore. Or, I know that's not quite over yet, but I would love that to happen. And I would love them to get some competition at left tackle and address left guard. But one of the things that I did remember seeing is supposedly the Panthers are talking about potentially going for, who was it? He was from Buffalo. Jerry Hughes. Jerry Hughes, pass rusher from the Bills. I hear that the Panthers are interested in him. Jerry Hughes, 33 years old, 6'2", 254 pounds, defensive end. Been in the league for a long time, has racked up 82 tackles for loss, and has racked up 58 career sacks. Wowzers. And not only that, this Jerry Hughes, he's been healthy, especially throughout his career. He's been healthy. Ever since he's come to Buffalo, he's been healthy, y'all. I mean, I hope they can land a Jerry Hughes. That would be big. That would be really big. Him and Brian Burns. That could be big, y'all. I mean, the dude has 58 career sacks. I mean, he didn't get many. He only got 2 last season. But, I mean, the dude has played consistently in games. He has 16 career forced fumbles. I mean, Jerry Hughes, I don't know, y'all. I think that'd be a good pickup. If they can land him, I think that'd be a good pickup. Dude's got 58 total sacks. That's a lot. Mamba says, it sounds like out of everyone in the front office, Matt Rule is the most on board to keeping Sam Darnold as the starter. It's like he wants to lose his job. Either that or he's severely banking on, with the additions, he's banking on, and I think he's not the only one, Mamba. I think in general, there's a number of people, NFL analysts, that are banking on these new pieces, a better O-line, maybe a bounce back season from Robbie Anderson, continued success with DJ Moore, a bounce back season for Christian McCaffrey. They feel like with all that factor in, that Sam Darnold can finally have the breakout year he's never had before. I think a lot of people are banking on that, including Matt Rule. So we'll see. Jeffrey says, I really think Scott trading back unless Tepper lets Matt pick to save his job. even still, the only way that Matt Rule saves his job is the Panthers make the playoffs. That's really the only way he saves his job. That's really the only way. They got to make the playoffs. Should the Panthers draft Kayvon Thibodeau? Personally, the Tankathon has Carolina picking Kayvon Thibodeau. Personally, I would say no, because I think it would be more of a luxury. I think it would be more of a luxury, and it's not one of the top needs. If you ask me, I don't think it's one of the top needs. So personally, I would say no, Joe Velasco. Mamba says, this question was asked on Twitter, but who do you think will break out next season and really stand out? That is an excellent question. And it's also a difficult question. So, I'm going to come with two players, one on offense, one on defense. Who do I think will break out on offense? Personally, I would really love to see either Robbie Anderson have a bounce back, Terrace Marshall Jr. Terrace Marshall Jr. would be at the top of my list. He would be at the top of my list. For defense, I'm hoping for one of these three players to break out on defense. Either J.C. Horn, being that he can avoid injury, J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson, or Derek Brown. That's what I'm hoping for on defense. On offense, either Robbie Anderson or Terrace Marshall Jr. Jeffrey wants Kayvon Thibodeau as well. I mean, he would be able to do some damage. But like I said, he's not a high priority need. Not compared to what we need on offensive line and quarterback. That's my only thing with that. But I definitely agree that if we did get him, he would be able to definitely make an impact. But if anything, I would like to see what happens with the potential of landing a Jerry Hughes, because I think that would definitely help. Kayvon Thibodeau, 35.5 tackles for loss, 19 sacks. Nice. 3 forced fumbles. Right on. 6'5", 258 pounds. Dang. Dude's pretty tall. Jeffrey says a stud that can stop the run and get to the quarterback. True. Mamba says, I think Deontay Foreman, Brady Christensen, and Robbie Anderson on offense. Okay. For defense, I think J.C. Horn and YGM, Yetur Gross-Matos. Ooh, yeah. Now that you mention him, I would love for YGM to break out. I would love to see him break out. He can definitely turn into a breakout star. And if anything, he definitely has a good shot at being a starter. He's got a shot at being a starter as well. Brady Christensen, who's had some success, but something tells me he's going to have some competition. But if he doesn't happen to land at left tackle, maybe he can fill at left guard. Something tells me I could see him and Deontay Brown heavy competition personally, but we'll see what happens. Ernest Capu, welcome to the stream, says Carolina Panthers, Jimmy Garoppolo trade 2022. Oh, so you want them to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, Ernest? Jeffrey says, oh, he agrees with Mamba. Gotcha. Yeah, Mamba, that's a good list. That's definitely a good list. And at least getting, Deontay Foreman got some power, got some extra power. I thought Chuba Hubbard did good, but I think definitely Deontay Foreman looks like he can be a red zone threat, a close yardage threat, and can power through. Something we haven't really had in a while. So it's a good point. But yeah, like Jimmy Garoppolo, my whole thing is, can he stay healthy? That man has not had good luck with staying healthy. And, we got to also see how the whole shoulder surgery thing plays off as well. But that's the big thing with Jimmy Garoppolo. He just his health. That's a big question mark. I mean, it's personally one of the reasons why I'd probably, looking back at it, would probably prefer Baker Mayfield over Jimmy Garoppolo personally. But then again, at the same time, Baker Mayfield's coming off an injury as well. So, I mean, it's tough. It's definitely tough. But I think with the draft, especially with the NFC South, we could be in some competition going after a quarterback, especially if the Saints may be in line and the Falcons may be in line. We're going to have some competition because we got to remember the Falcons pick after us, but still. I mean, that's really the main advantage that we have right now, is that we pick first before the Falcons and the Saints. But then you also have to think about, if we don't trade back, that means no pick in the second and third round. Mamba says, I don't really like Jimmy G's contract. Yeah, his contract situation, actually, let me look that up. Let me actually look that up. Jimmy G. He currently has a 5-year, $137,500,000 contract that includes a $7 million signing bonus, average salary of $27,500,000. Ooh, man. In 2023, he'll become an unrestricted free agent. Ooh. $74,100,000 guaranteed in this contract. Goodness gracious. Ooh, goodness gracious. Yeah. Yeah, we can't take on that. No. I mean, can we really we can't take on that. Can we actually take on that? We can't take on that. We have to free up more cap to take on that, right? Mamba says, just like the Deshaun Watson situation, the Saints back at it again, trying to sabotage us. Hey, they're NFC South, so I mean, can you blame them? I mean, they're rivals. You can't blame them. But yeah, I don't know if taking on that contract, that Jimmy G contract, would be a good idea. Especially with his health history. That's my only thing with that. And then, you know what? Let me look at Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield. 4-year, 32,682,980. All guaranteed. A $21,849,440 signing bonus. I mean, and of course, another one to become an unrestricted free agent in 2023. So I mean, Baker Mayfield's contract is more friendly. Is a little more friendly. Jeffrey says, good run game, top 5 defense, maybe online. Great video, man. Hope we wait till next year for a quarterback. Just my 2 cents. Oh, so you're on the side of getting a quarterback next draft. Gotcha. Yeah, it's been kind of even. It's been kind of even between some wanting a quarterback this draft at the end of the year, at the end of April versus next year. I think it's a decent split down the middle. But yeah. I mean, between Baker Mayfield and Jimmy Garoppolo, Baker Mayfield has a little bit more of a friendly contract situation. But yeah, I'm in agreement with Mamba. That Jimmy G contract, that oof. I mean, 74 million guaranteed. Ugh. Yeah. That would really take a lot to trade for. And like I said, health. Health is a question. I also want to take another look at free agents as well. Get an idea who's left. Von Miller's going to Buffalo. And then the Rams just got somebody, Bobby Wagner. That's right. The Rams got Bobby Wagner. So he's off the table. Teron Armstead going to Miami. He's off the table. J.C. Jackson off the table going to the Chargers. Chandler Jones going to the Raiders. Brandon Sheriff going to the Jags. So there's a lot of big names off the table now. Trying to see. And Stephon Diggs just scored a big extension with Buffalo. He got a big extension. And like I said, Honey Badger looks like could be going to the Saints. He's doing a visit. Would love Stephon Gilmore, but don't think that's going to happen. I'm guessing talks with Dwayne Brown fell through. So yeah, little by little, big names are coming off the market of availability. I wouldn't mind entertaining the idea of a Jadeveon Clowney. And Gronk right now is still undecided. Gronk is still undecided. Yeah, he says he's not ready to commit to another season. So he might be back on the retirement. And then, can y'all believe this? Apparently, T.O. is joining the fan-controlled football league. And he believes he could return to the NFL. Come on, dude. Really, T.O.? At 48 years old? Really? Dude, please. Please. Come on now. T.O., I know you're a Hall of Famer, but come on, dude. Come on, dude. Really? Really? Come on now. And he's got nerve to say, I wasn't given the opportunity to play. That doesn't mean I retired. Has Colin Kaepernick retired? Because he hasn't been given an opportunity. Really, T.O.? Come on now. Really, T.O.? Come on now. Come on, be realistic. I respect your career, T.O., but come on, dude. Come on. Come on. Jeffrey says, LOL, sign me up too. Yeah, shoot, we might as well, everybody in this chat, we might as well try out. But T.O., come on, dude. Come on, dude. You're a Hall of Famer. You're 48 years old. Come on now, dude. You're done. You're done. You're done. Jeffrey says, I'll be 50 this year. Hey, give it a try, Jeffrey. Give it a try. If T.O. can, you should too. You should give it a shot. I'll endorse you. But yeah, can y'all believe that? He even says, check this out. He even says, I can do a lot of things that people feel I can't do. It's not a matter of me going out there and trying to prove anybody wrong. I just don't like the notion that people see it. Even in the National Football League, it's almost like, okay, you've reached a certain age at whatever point in time in your life, and they feel like you can't play anymore or your skills decline to a degree. Of course, everybody's skills at some point may decline, but I think there are certain people that can defy those kind of odds, and I think I'm one of those people. Oh, man. Let me make sure I'm not crazy. So T.O. hasn't been on an NFL team since 2012 when he had the 1-year deal with the Seattle Seahawks, which, I mean, turned around and he got released. So realistically, the last time he played in the NFL, played like a legit game, was 2010. 2010 or 2011. Dude, it is 2022. If you honestly think folks are going to take a chance on you nearly 11 years later, come on, T.O. Come on, T.O. Come on now, dude. I know you've had one heck of a career, but come on, dude. Come on. He also says if Tom Brady can do it, if they can marvel at some of the things he's done, I'm no different than Tom Brady. Tom Brady's he's still playing in the league. He's been playing in the league continuously. He only retired for 2 months? But he's been playing. Not to mention he's racked up title after 7 championships? While T.O., you have what? Oh yeah, 0. You've had 1 Super Bowl appearance. T.O., there, and I don't even like Tom Brady. And there's no comparison. And I don't even like Tom Brady. But come on, dude. Really? Tom Brady? Come on, dude. T.O., be realistic. You've had a quite a career in the NFL, no doubt, worthy of the Hall of Fame for sure. But dude, you ain't coming back to the NFL. Not as a player. Not as a player. Come on, dude. Nope, just do this league, this 7-on-7, whatever. Do that. Great. If you're still in shape, great. That's cool. But dude, you haven't played in the NFL in 11 years, dude. Ain't nobody gonna take a chance. Everybody in the chat, maybe I'm crazy, but everybody in the chat, would y'all actually consider T.O.? And do you think T.O. should come back? Make a comeback in the NFL? Do you think a team will actually sign T.O.? I'm gonna just entertain that question. I'm gonna just entertain it just for kicks. Joe Velasco, a big old no. I agree. Who else? I'm kind of curious to see if there's anybody else that actually would consider. The 48-year-old T.O. Hall of Famer. I know I sure wouldn't. You got to be severely desperate. You have to either be severely desperate or you have to be in a position where you have a dynasty of a team and have won championship after championship after championship to the point where it's like, yeah, we could afford to bring back an old player. Sure, we'll give him a year contract. That's the only 2 ways I see this even being entertained. Not to mention his attitude. Do you really want a TO on your team? Shoot. Jeffrey says, Rule would if he went to Temple. Ah, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Nice one, Jeffrey. I see what you did there. But yeah. No to TO. No to TO. No. No. But yeah, guess that's pretty much it for tonight. Like I say, final words. Honestly, I'm kind of staying neutral on the idea of a quarterback for this upcoming draft versus next year's draft. Although the numbers I've seen from Carson Strong and Bryce Young look very attractive for next season. So there's that. And if anything, I'm just really anxious to get to the draft. I'm very anxious personally. But yeah, should be good. I'm hoping what's going to happen with more of this cap space. Wonder what's going to happen. And yeah, hopefully this quarterback carousel will be settled and set in stone. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. But that'll do it for this stream for tonight. Jeffrey says, who would you take in the first draft pick? Honestly, an offensive lineman, but I would trade back because I really think they should try to get a second and a third round, or at least one of those picks back, because that's too big of a gap. That's too big of a gap. But personally, I would say offensive lineman, because I feel like we need to really be on point with the rebuilding of this offensive line. And we've made good progress so far in free agency, but it's not done. I don't think it's done. I think you got to put the icing on the cake. Get one of these studs in the draft. You know, try to get a second and a third round pick as well, or one of them. But try to get a stud at O-line in this first round. Either somebody to play left guard or somebody to be left tackle. But that's my pick, personally. But anyway, that's pretty much all that I have. Let me know what y'all think overall about what was discussed tonight. And hopefully we'll see what happens between now and the draft. Should be interesting. But like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you catch me every time I go live or upload. Jeffrey says, me too. Get some sleep. Love your vids. Thank you so much for all the continued support, Jeffrey. And to the rest of y'all, thank y'all so much for coming into the stream and chatting it up, sharing your views, your points, your opinions, your facts. Thanks for all your contributing to the conversations. I love hearing from y'all. I love being informed. I love being educated as well, because there's always room for me to learn stuff from y'all. Because there's definitely much that I can definitely take from y'all. So by all means, keep that going. I appreciate y'all so much. And yeah, no matter what, keep pounding. We're going to get through this. Some way, somehow, we're going to get through this. It's going to take time, but there's a process. Only thing, we can do as fans is just keep the positivity going. And hopefully this ship could get turned around and going in the right direction. But Till we meet again, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another Carolina Panthers Talk video brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. Hope everybody has a blessed evening, well, now morning in some areas. And I will catch y'all in the next video. Take care and God bless. Peace.